Welcome to About Mansfield. It's your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo with the October 2nd, 2024, 242nd edition. Colleen Daniel, she's out there at Studio West. We are here with the About Mansfield news team. Coming up, it's Mansfield news, talk, and information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance.
Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week.
Hundreds of drones light up the Mansfield night.
Fire destroys Mansfield home. 3
arrested in Mansfield for organized crime.
Toastmasters returns to Mansfield.
Festive events set to take us back to the 1800s.
And in sports, it's a recap of Friday Night Lights and what's on tap for this weekend.
And in the talk segment, Steve talks in studio with Hands of Hope member Susan Reed. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Navigating the ever-changing real estate market can be exhausting. At the Hornburg Real Estate Group at One West, our team of experts help make the most of your home selling goals. From the ability to bring buyers multiple cash offers, offer different ways to sell your home, and even offer pay-at-close vendors, we help you get top dollar. We have a robust marketing strategy to ensure you always have options to get your home sold in the way that makes the most sense for you. Each agent at the Hornburg Real Estate Group has been expertly trained and has years of experience behind them. Find out why our clients consistently rate us 5 stars year after year. Call or text us at 817-264-7087. Again, that's 817-264-7087. Or visit us online at homesbyhrg.com.
This is Paul Duncan with Trinity Solar Services. That's right, solar. Back in the 1960s, NASA used solar cells in their space missions. But get this, the very first solar cells were actually invented back in 1883. Solar energy has made great strides over the past 140 years, but one theme remains constant: solar works. Solar panels are the MVPs of renewable energy. While reducing carbon emissions and taking a stand against climate change, solar panels can also help to greatly reduce your electric bill. Trinity Solar Services is your sun-powered solutions, and we want to deck out your home with top-notch Tier 1 panels without breaking the bank. Reach out to us today for a complimentary quote. Trinity Solar Services is a Mansfield-based company that's all about building relationships through good old-fashioned, family-owned business values. Find us online at trinitysolarservices.com. That's trinitysolarservices.com.
Hi, I'm Orion Jean with Race to Kindness, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Capel-based drone show company Sky Elements announced on their Facebook page Saturday that they set a new Guinness World Record for the most remote-operated multi-rotor drones launching fireworks simultaneously. The record-breaking event took place Saturday night over the Mansfield Sports Park, formerly known as Big League Dreams, with 1,200 drones lighting up the night sky. The highlight of the show came when fireworks were launched from the drones, which were in the shape of the Greek mythological bird, the phoenix. Mansfield residents may remember Sky Element's first drone show in the city back in February 2022, which featured a marriage proposal over Skinner's Sports Complex using just 150 drones. Since then, the company has organized several shows in Mansfield. Sky Elements also gained national attention by placing third in the finals of the TV series America's Got Talent last season.
A fire severely damaged a home in Mansfield on Thursday night, beginning in the garage and spreading throughout the property. According to dispatch reports, the fire broke out approximately 8 p.m. at the residence in the 1400 block of Southern Hills Drive. It took firefighters about an hour to extinguish the blaze. Homeowner Leroy Cattell was inside the residence at the time. He had recently checked the lithium battery charging his golf cart and plugged in another lithium battery for his Toyota RAV4 before hearing shouts that his house was on fire. Cattell and his dog managed to safely escape, but the 10-year-old family cat did not survive. Cattell's wife was not home during the incident. The fire destroyed the garage as well as a vehicle parked outside and caused significant damage to the rest of the house. Insurance adjusters were on the scene Friday afternoon. The cause of the fire is still under investigation by the Mansfield Fire Department.
Mansfield police arrested 3 suspects Thursday in connection with organized criminal activity. At around 11:30 a.m., officers responded to a report of shoplifting at a grocery store in the 3100 block of East Broad Street. The caller described a woman concealing items in her clothing and leaving in a black Honda Odyssey with 2 men. Officers quickly located the vehicle at a nearby Chevron gas station and conducted a traffic stop. Upon investigation, officers found several trash bags filled with items matching those reported stolen from multiple locations across Texas. The goods, including makeup, household items, and clothing, had an estimated value exceeding $10,000. The 3 suspects are now facing charges of engaging in organized criminal activity, along with additional warrants from other agencies.
If you're looking to be a better speaker, if you're looking to be a better leader here in the community, there's a new program starting up. You all know about it. It's been around for many, many years. It's called Toastmasters International. And the local coordinators here in the studio, Chris Lawlick, welcome to About Mansfield.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
Tell me why a person needs to go through Toastmasters.
All of us need to communicate in our lives. We need to communicate at work. We need to communicate with our communities. We need to communicate with our families. And the way most people communicate is through speaking, giving evaluations, talking to other people. Toastmasters is a nonprofit organization that's been around over 100 years, which is all about helping you get better at speaking. It helps you learn how to write speeches, learn how to give speeches, build leadership skills, and also learn how to both receive and give effective feedback.
Can a person become a good speaker overnight?
Absolutely not, unless you're really, really exceptional. Some people start at a higher level. Some people start with other strengths. The point of Toastmasters is that because you practice every single week over time, you get better. And it's like learning how to play an instrument, learning how to throw a ball, learning how to write. The more you do it, the better you get. Over the years, I've been to a number of really wonderful training programs, but most of them have a start and a stop. Mm-hmm. To me, one of the reasons Toastmasters is so effective is you get to practice every single week.
Will Toastmasters give someone the ability to get over the fear of speaking? Absolutely.
What Toastmasters does is because you practice it all the time, you learn that you can be effective at speaking. Yeah. Sometimes the butterflies still stay with you, but what Toastmasters teaches you is how to manage the butterflies. A few years ago, I had to give a speech at a big meeting in Germany in German. Someone said, "Aren't you absolutely terrified of doing this?" And I said, "Well, I grew up at home speaking German. I'm working with my little sister on the diction. But in terms of speaking to people, I practice that every single week, and it'll go fine." And it did.
There was a survey. The survey is now probably a decade at least old, but the survey of college students was, what is your biggest fear? And public speaking ranked higher than death, which means more people would rather die than give a speech.
Well, here's a story. When I lived in Kansas City, there was a young man who joined Toastmasters because his boss had said, you need to get over your horrible fear of speaking James. And James went to Toastmasters, and he was so terrified of speaking, it took him 4 months to work up the nerve to give his icebreaker, which is his first speech. Mm-hmm. After 2 minutes, which was about halfway through the first speech, he just panicked and sat down. But he came back, and a few weeks later gave the full icebreaker. James kept working at it and was persistent. 2 years later, James won a humorous speech contest.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
Where can people find out more information about the brand new right here in Mansfield, the brand new Toastmasters in Mansfield?
Just go to the About Mansfield podcast and look up this episode, and there will be a URL in there that you can just sign up for. Right. It'll be real easy. Then you'll be on the mailing list, and we will keep you informed as to what we're doing.
So head on over to the website, aboutmansfield.com, click on the links tab, and look under the latest. That would be this October 2024 links, and there will be a link for Toastmasters. When does your group, you've yet to launch, but when is this group going to launch, and when and where do they meet?
Thanks, Steve. Our very first meeting will be on October 7th, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the Grandview, which is at 2201 Heritage Parkway. And that's actually in the back of Cellmark Corporation. We will be meeting every Monday going forward from noon to 1.
Every Monday from noon to 1 in the Grandview Event Center, which is a beautiful, if you've not seen the Grandview Event Center, wonderful place, 2201 Heritage Parkway. It's actually about 20 steps from this studio that we're sitting in. Toastmasters. Chris, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
It's become an annual event here in Mansfield, and it's a wonderful event. We're talking about Founders Day. It gives the people who attend a little opportunity to learn more about the history of Mansfield and its founders, Mr. Mann and Mr. Field. With us on the phone to talk about it is the director of the Historical Museum. That'd be Jessica Baber. Welcome back to About Mansfield.
Thanks very much.
Tell the listening audience about Founders Day, and it's coming up.
Absolutely, yes. So this Saturday, that's October 5th, is going to be our 4th annual Founders Day event. And we like to think of this as an opportunity for folks in Mansfield to step back in time and see what Mansfield could have been like when the town was founded in the 1800s. We have all kinds of different activities going on all day. There's going to be demonstrators on site doing different activities that would have been done back then, like a blacksmith and a potter, basket weaving, sewing, spinning, all kinds of different things, as well as some like hands-on activities for folks to get a better sense of what people in the 1800s were up to around here.
And the one thing that I really liked, I've gone to the past couple of maybe all 3 of them, I don't recall, but is that those that are doing demonstrations are actually dressed in period clothing.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of the folks out here will be dressed up like it's the 1800s. And something that we've added last year is a photo opportunity. So we'll have period clothing for people to try on and take a photo at the house. And so that's something that's really fun for people to get to kind of experience as well.
Now, this is becoming a pretty popular event. What's the best way to attend the Mann House in terms of parking and getting to the Mann House? Parking
is limited out here at the house, but we're going to have a shuttle running all day, all through the event, which is 10 to 4. And it'll be going from the lots downtown to the Mann House, just back and forth. So if you can snag a spot at our site, that's great. If not, you can park downtown. We'll have signs where the buses are going to pick up, and you can park down there.
What is the admission fee to get into Founders Day at the Mann House?
There's no admission to come. It is absolutely free. We will have some things if you want to spend some money. We'll have some food trucks. We'll have some of our demonstrators will be selling things they've made, pots and things like that. But yeah, just to come and experience it is absolutely free.
Admission is free. That is called Founders Day. It's happening this Saturday, October 5th. It's from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. It's at the Mann House. And if I recall, Jessica, it's 604 West Broad Street.
That is correct.
Anything else you want to add?
I hope that, you guys have a chance to come and check it out. It's a great event, and we hope to see you there.
That's Jessica Baber, Director of the Historical Museum. And again, Founders Day, Saturday, October 5th, 10 to 4 at the Mann House. Jessica, thank you. We'll see you out there. And thank you again for hosting Founders Day.
Thank you.
Your Mansfield Tigers continue their undefeated ways. We'll talk about it because sports is next.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this. An enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a wedding reception, corporate Christmas party, or community gathering. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
I'm Philip Washington, Chief Investment Officer of Stonehill Wealth Management and host of the Wealth Building Made Simple podcast. First book I read in college was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life. And since then, I've read tons and tons of books on money. And what I've done is taken those lessons, simplified them, and I talk about those lessons on my podcast, Wealth Building Made Simple. So come hang out with us. We're on every major platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube, Wealth Building Made Simple.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
In sports, your Mansfield Tigers continue their winning ways as they defeated Fort Worth Boswell Friday night in a nail-biter, 41-40. Tigers are now 5-0 on the season and take on Lake Ridge at Newsom Stadium Thursday night, and it's a pink-out game for the Tigers. Also celebrating victories, Summit down Grapevine 25-22, while Timberview toppled Everman 47-21. Looking ahead to this Friday night, Legacy hosts their homecoming at Newsom against Weatherford, while Summit takes on the Colony at R.L. Anderson. On the road, Timberview travels to Arlington Seguin on Thursday night. All games kick off at 7 p.m. The high and low scores from around the state. The highest scoring game in the state, Wildorado 93, Groom 52. The lowest scoring game in the state, Cypress Falls down to Houston Memorial 7-0. And the biggest goose egg in the state goes to Dallas Fair Hill, routed by Irving the Highlands 79-0. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, go ahead, give it to us. You can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Again, that voicemail, 817-435-2938. By the way, if you listen to About Mansfield on Apple Podcasts, if you wouldn't mind taking a few seconds, please leave us a 5-star review. The higher our ranking, the easier it will be for future listeners to find the podcast. We appreciate it, and thank you. This coming Friday, October 4th, is National Golf Lovers Day, a day that provides an opportunity for enthusiasts, actually for those who live in colder climates, to swing down the fairway at least one more time before the end of the season. But of course, if you live in Mansfield, it's played almost year-round. The modern game of golf originated in the 15th century Scotland, while the world's oldest golf tournament is the Open Championship. Its first tournament was played on October 17th, 1860 at Prestwick Golf Club in Ayrshire, Scotland. By the way, those who believe that the word golf derives from an acronym meaning guys only, ladies forbidden, the United States Golf Association states on their website that the word golf is not an acronym for anything. Rather, it derives linguistically from the Scotch word of colf, K-O-L-F, or colv, K-O-L-V-E, meaning quite simply club. In the Scottish dialect of the late 14th or early 15th century, the Dutch term became golf, G-O-F-F, or Gauff, G-O-U-F-F, only later in the 16th century as we know it today as golf. So how do we correctly observe National Golf Lovers Day this coming Friday? Number 1, grab your clubs. Number 2, tee it up, hit it long and straight, and don't forget the old adage, never up, never in. By the way, if you or someone you know happens to score an ace, anytime, anywhere, we want to know about it.
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Today, we're tackling a topic that affects millions of people, but it doesn't have to be a downer. Type 2 diabetes. I'm Angel Biasatti, and we'll learn more in Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
When is the best time to buy or sell a house? I'm Angela Hornburg, and we'll talk about it in the Mansfield Real Estate Update.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, I'll be talking about a cocktail that's like autumn decided to throw a party in your mouth.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
Congratulations to Barbara Diane, who knew that Mansfield Historical Museum was opened by the Mansfield Historical Society in 2003. When we come back, this week's trivia question. This is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It is time right now for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com, you will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the best insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. Not everyone wins on a Wednesday. So if you're listening on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whenever, give it a shot. You may be taking home a $25 restaurant gift card. Colleen, the floor is yours.
Well, Steve, fishing is available at several Mansfield parks and open to the public year-round during regular hours. Ponds are stocked throughout the year with crappie, bluegill, and catfish, while the ponds at Oliver Nature Park, Rose Park, and Chandler Park are stocked with rainbow trout. Those who are casting a line over the age of 17 must carry a valid Texas fishing license. This week's trivia question is, how much does an annual freshwater fishing license cost for a Mansfield resident under the age of 65? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, how much does an annual freshwater fishing license cost for a Mansfield resident under 65 years of age? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Dr. Janine Huang with United Dermatology Associates, and you are listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here to talk about the ins and outs of type 2 diabetes in Methodist Mansfield. News to know. Angel?
If you have type 2 diabetes, make exercise a regular routine. Get up and get moving. Whether it's hitting the gym, dancing to your favorite tunes, or walking your furry friends, find a way to get active for at least 45 minutes, 5 days a week. Aerobic exercises, like cardio, not only gets your heart pumping, but also helps you lower your glucose levels. So put on those dancing shoes and let's groove our way to better health. Patches make things easier. Say goodbye to daily injections and hello to convenience. Thanks to technology, insulin patches have revolutionized diabetes management. Those nifty patches, some even as small as your fingertip, work with your smartphone app to deliver insulin consistency. Talk about convenience, it's at your fingertips. Be careful if you're pregnant. For all those expecting moms, pregnancy brings its own sets of challenges when it comes to managing diabetes. Gestational diabetes can be a concern, but with proper guidance from your OB-GYN, it's manageable. Remember, it's all about teamwork between you, your OB-GYN, and your little bundle of joy. Pay attention to your numbers, A1C numbers, that is. The A1C test is your diabetes report card, showing how well you've managed your blood sugar over the past few months. Aim for target levels between 6.5 and 7.5 to reduce the risk of complications. It's like aiming for straight A's in diabetes management. Never stop learning. Keep those brain cells buzzing with knowledge. Regular check-ins with your doctor, attending workshops can provide invaluable insights. Surround yourself with a supportive community of healthcare professionals and fellow diabetes warriors to share challenges and celebrate victories. Managing type 2 diabetes doesn't have to be a chore. It can be fun and an empowering journey. From dancing to better health and embracing technology to staying informed and seeking support, these doctor-approved tips offer a well-rounded approach to diabetes management. Thanks for listening. Remember, every step you take towards better health is a step in the right direction. Keep dancing, keep learning. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Angela Hornburg is here to address when is the best time to buy or sell a house in the Mansfield market in the Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. Angela?
It's a common myth that there's a prime time to sell or buy real estate. Most commonly, I hear that consumers believe the summer is the best time to buy or sell real estate. It is true that we generally have more inventory and more buyers during the spring and summer, but you may be surprised to learn that's not the best time. During quarter 2 and quarter 3 of our year, our market traditionally sees an influx of homes hitting the market, and then the buyer pool will also generally increase to the same ratio. What this does is cause more competition for the folks selling their home, which creates level pricing since everyone is competing. This competition does make it a great time to buy, and there is traditionally a lot more options for buyers to choose from during this time. Conversely, during quarter 1 and quarter 4 of our year, we see a steady supply of homes hitting the market, and believe it or not, based on statistics from the Multiple Listing Service, there are more sales to listings during this time frame than during the spring and summer months. Why is that? For starters, most sellers listing their home during this time frame are more motivated by a timeline. They are not selling out of convenient timing as some sellers are during the summer months. Since they are motivated by a timeline or a factor, they are more likely to listen to their agent's opinion and advice about pricing and strategy, which makes their home more attractive for buyers. Speaking of buyers, people purchasing a home during this time frame are also generally motivated. A lot of people want to get into their new house by the end of the year and choose to buy during this time, either due to relocation, the craziness of the summer season has settled down for them, or in some cases, they are investors looking to sink some capital into a tax shelter called real estate. When both sides during these time frames are motivated, it creates a lot of win-win agreements, as well as understandings of delicate time frames around holidays, which makes for happy negotiating. With that being said, there's not a better time over another to buy or sell, although we do see more sales to listings during quarter 1 and quarter 4 of the year. Do what's right for you and your real estate goals without feeling constrained to having missed an imaginary best time frame. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, this is Angela Hornburg, broker with One West Real Estate.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a beverage that's like autumn decided to throw a party in your mouth in the cocktail of the week. Brian?
This week's cocktail of the week is the Cranberry Bourbon Sour. As the leaves turn golden and the air gets crisp, it's time to swap out those refreshing summer sippers for something a bit more robust and warming. This month, we'll explore the art of crafting the perfect autumn cocktails. From classics with a fall twist to innovative concoctions featuring seasonal ingredients like apple cider and cinnamon, I'll guide you through creating the ideal drink to complement those cozy nights by the fire. So grab your favorite rocks glass and let's get shaking, stirring, and sipping our way through all the flavors of fall. Stay tuned as we uncover the secrets to elevating your cocktail game this autumn. This week's delightful concoction has its roots in the classic whiskey sour, but with a seasonal twist that makes it perfect for our fall cocktail month. The origin of this particular variation is, like most cocktails, a bit murky, and it likely emerged during the craft cocktail renaissance of the early 2000s, when bartenders started experimenting with classic recipes, incorporating seasonal ingredients to create new flavor profiles. The addition of cranberry to the traditional bourbon sour was a stroke of genius, bringing a tart fruitness that complements the warm caramel notes of the bourbon beautifully. But don't worry about taking notes as I'm giving out the ingredients and instructions. They're always posted every Wednesday on bourbongospel.com. The ingredients: 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice, 3/4 ounce of unsweetened cranberry juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, and 1 egg white. Now, this is optional, but I highly recommend it to give it a nice silky texture. You're going to need ice, and for garnish, some fresh cranberries and a lemon twist. And here's how we bring it all together. First, you're using the egg white. Start with a dry shake. A dry shake means no ice is added, and you're going to add all the ingredients except the ice to your shaker and shake vigorously for about 15 seconds. This helps emulsify the egg white. Then add ice to your shaker and shake again for another 15 to 20 seconds until well chilled. Strain into a rocks glass filled with fresh ice. Garnish with a few fresh cranberries and a lemon twist. Now, take a minute to admire your creation before taking that first perfect sip. Now, why is this the ideal cocktail for fall cocktail month? Well, first, it's all about balance and seasonality. The bourbon provides a warm, comforting base that's perfect for cooler weather, and the cranberry brings tart, fruity notes, while the lemon adds brightness to keep things lively. The simple syrup smooths out the edges, creating the perfectly balanced sip. Texture-wise, if you do opt for the egg white, you're going to get a silky, smooth mouthfeel that's downright luxurious. It's like wrapping your taste buds in a cashmere scarf. Plus, let's not forget the visual appeal. That deep, rich red color, it's like you've captured the essence of fall foliage in a glass. It's Instagram-worthy for sure, but more importantly, it's a feast for the eyes that sets the mood even before you take the first sip. So there you have it, the Cranberry Bourbon Sour. It's more than just a drink, it's autumn distilled into liquid form. So whether you're hosting a harvest party, looking for something to sip while carving pumpkins, or just want a toast to the changing seasons, this cocktail has got you covered. Next week, we'll be exploring another fall favorite, so make sure to tune in. As always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with Steve's in-studio interview with Susan Reed with Hands of Hope.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
Hi, I'm Amanda Rogers, managing editor of the Mansfield Record, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, well, I tell you what, first we have to start with a disclaimer. The information provided today, we are not providing medical information. The information within is strictly for informational purposes only, yada, 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 yada. We want to mention that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So with that, I wanted to bring in someone who is greatly involved in the breast cancer community. She does a lot with a support group called Hands of Help, and we'll talk about that. First of all, you know what? Let's just say, Susan Reed, welcome to About Mansfield.
Thank you, Steve. I'm glad to be here.
And I wanted to bring you in. First of all, you and I met when you have actually been in this studio before. You were a guest on one of my clients' podcasts, and we got to talking about breast cancer. And that's where you told me about the support group. So I got to thinking, and I sat on this for a while, waiting for October to come around to have you on, this being the first week in October. 1 in 8 women develop breast cancer sometime in their life.
Yes, that is the statistic.
So this interview is not only on a personal level, and we'll get into that, so share that information with the listeners, but chances are pretty good that there's at least one person, if not more, in the audience that has either gone through or is currently going through, or may at some time go through breast cancer. Let's start with Susan Reed. And if your LinkedIn profile is correct, you have 3 degrees. You're talking about psychology, public administration, and I forget the middle one.
Social work.
Is social work. The most important one.
For me, for my day-to-day life, it is, yes.
What do you do professionally?
I am a licensed clinical social worker, and so to the person on the street, I'm a psychotherapist. It's hard, we all have this alphabet soup, whether you're a licensed professional counselor, marriage and family therapist, clinical social worker, psychologist. So I'm a clinical social worker. I have a master's in social work. I have an undergrad in psychology, and I got a wild hair and went and got a master's in public administration one time. It seemed like the thing to do.
The question is why, but you don't have to answer that. Your experience with breast cancer begins on a personal level.
It does.
When did you find out that you had breast cancer?
December of 2010.
December of 2010. And how far, stages 1 through 4?
I was stage 3, grade 3, very aggressive. My understanding is 60% of your cells dividing is unheard of. 100% of my cells were dividing. I had a very aggressive form of breast cancer. My doctor did not believe that my mammogram in May could have been clear. And when we got those records from a previous state I lived in, she's like, there's nothing on here. So between May and end of November, when I found the lump, I was both stage 3 and grade 3.
And obviously, because you were sitting here talking with me today, breast cancer is not a death sentence.
It is not at all a death sentence, and it's not one disease. There are multiple types of breast cancer, and so you get a really quick education if you're willing to look at it with what makes the cancer grow, what expands it, what slows it down, the circumstances for it. There are genetic sources, but there's also environmental impact. I could go way down the field in mental health. Probably not what we're up for today. If you're interested in kind of the impact of personality on disease and autoimmune, you could look at there's a book called When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate. Very interesting psychiatrist. So if you want to deep dive in that, you can.
Let's go ahead and dig into the book then. What did you get out of the book?
Well, I work with a number of folks with what's called complex trauma and dissociative disorders. And one of the things that I'm keenly aware of is that there are personality types linked to autoimmune issues and cancers, specifically breast, prostate, and lung. And that's part of what I got out of the book.
Okay.
And certain personality types are more likely, accommodating, difficulty setting boundaries, trouble saying no. That doesn't mean that you caused your breast cancer. Let me be very clear about that. But there are indications, and sometimes we come out of a situation where we don't have the luxury of having our no honored on a routine basis, so we don't say it.
And in some cases, you're born with at least the gene that carries that. For the listeners, you may have heard throughout the past few months little bits and pieces. My wife has breast cancer. She was diagnosed back in May of this year. She's now 12 of 16 chemotherapy infusions past her. And but she carries the gene. It's something you're born with.
Yes.
And there are ways of, at least preventative ways of keeping it down. But the likelihood of it coming is it's going to come, isn't it?
Yeah, if 1 in 8 of us are going to get it, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So who knows if it's environmental? There's some personality components. There's what we eat, what we drink, the amount of hormones in our food. You can do everything right and get breast cancer. You can do everything wrong and not get cancer.
My wife's mother and her sister both passed away in their 50s from breast cancer. That's when my wife went to a specialist and had a
genetic
diagnosis. And yes, you have the breast cancer gene. Mm-hmm. My wife's sister does not have the gene. My wife's brother has the gene. Mm-hmm. And so with that, she went through 5 years of tamoxifen. Yes, that was it. Okay, so that seemed to keep it at bay. After the 5 years, all right, everything's still clear. And then came a little lump. You couldn't tell if it was cancer or not. So she says, all right, take it, and which resulted in a double mastectomy. She has had a hysterectomy and yet still came down with breast cancer. And because I guess when they did the mastectomy, there's still some cells along the walls of the breast, and that's actually where it developed. You know what they say? Stuff happens.
It does. It very much does.
And a lot of this has to do with attitude, though, of you can get through this the rough way, and you can get it through really in not such a bad situation. I mean, chemo is chemo. It really sucks. You're going to lose your hair. Talk about your experience with chemo.
Oh, I'd have done chemo again to not have to do radiation.
Was that worse?
Radiation, for me, was far worse.
Oh, wow.
It burned through my chest, and I had burns on my back. It burned through my body. So I'd have done 8 more rounds of chemo. Not a problem. So chemo's not fun. Mm-hmm. Drugs today are so good that you're not going to throw up and have all of the kind of things that you might hear about in movies. They've got great drugs that keep the the nausea down. I actually gained about 20 pounds doing chemo.
Huh.
You know, and there's things they want you to eat, things that they don't want you to eat, like nothing spicy. Well, the first half, all I wanted was like fried jalapenos from Sonic.
Tacos.
Yeah. So I ate them. And capsaicin and the peppers apparently kept me from getting the mouth sores and things. But they usually say, spicy food doesn't help that because chemo kills the fast-growing cells.
Yeah.
That's why you lose your hair everywhere, including your nose.
Yep.
Lose your nose hair during allergy season. There's nothing good about that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to shave your legs for a while, however.
Her hair's growing back, though.
Oh, it does come back.
Right now, it's about 1/4 of an inch.
Oh, fun.
Just in spots.
Yes.
And it's on its way. When she was diagnosed, it's kind of a moment to freak out.
Can be.
Because you don't know what's ahead of you. As you and I talked about before we started recording, we have a friend who went through the same exact diagnosis that my wife is going through, the same treatment of chemo that my wife is going through. She was angry 24/7, whereas my wife has kept a mental attitude of we got this. And it's a team effort.
It has to be. To survive, it has to be.
And so in May, when the diagnosis came down, she's assembling her support team. But equally as important, the spouse also needs a support team.
Yes, they do.
And the first thing I did, because again, I don't know what the future holds for either one of us. So I'm in a little bit of a freak out mode. I called my neighbor whose wife is also going through cancer. And I said, look, here's what I'm going through. If I ever need to buy you a beer, are you available? Absolutely. And same thing, a neighbor in the next subdivision over whose wife went through breast cancer. Can I buy you a beer? When it's time, I need you on my team. And both of them were like, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And as a result, which is funny because we were about 4 months in, I haven't needed their help yet because it's been going so well. Maybe someday I will need their help, but the support team also of one woman organizing a food train is important.
It is. And figuring out, that you can't do it alone. Some of us don't operate under that theory. We operate under the theory that we can always do it by ourselves, better, faster, stronger, and that's not good.
Right.
And so I had a very dear friend who had a different form of cancer who gave me several books and said, start here. Let me teach you how to have cancer. And I thought, oh, this ought to be interesting. And I learned so much from her. She had this idea of, yes, people can clean my house, they can drive my kids, they can do laundry, they can do everything. They don't touch my underwear. I clean my own underwear. Like that was her line in the sand, right? And she said, so you got to figure out what are you willing to let people help you with because you will not have the bandwidth to do it yourself. And if you're trying to do it alone, you will be exhausted and depressed and anxious and alone. And that will never work. It just doesn't work.
And that both plays into mental health and physical health.
I don't separate the two.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I do not. Think about the last time you had the flu. How hard did you laugh?
I don't know.
You didn't. I don't even know you that well.
Yeah.
When you're really sick, you don't laugh.
Oh, no.
And if you go through a significant period of trials and tribulations, whatever that is, think about exam week or crushing it at work, trying to get through an audit or whatever. Within a month, you're probably going to have a sinus infection because your immune system takes a dive.
Right.
So we talk about it like it's two separate things, but you cannot differentiate the two. People with anxiety are going to have ulcers, right? And so when you begin to look at how our mental state changes our physical state, you really cannot separate the two. And you can't just wake up and go, I'm going to have a great attitude through cancer. But if you can put some positive things together, if you can recognize that it absolutely sucks. I'd add a few words to that from my days with working with Marines.
Sure.
I don't think we can do that on the air. However,
It's okay. We'll just beep it.
It blanking sucks. I'll just leave it that way, right? But if you can figure out, how do I rally myself? How can I be true? How can I be angry when I'm angry, sad when I'm sad, and then realize I still got to get up and do the next thing.
Yeah.
And you got to figure that out. And I was very fortunate to have a great group of women around me when I had cancer who didn't. Some of them had some experience. And so Bible group met in my house that week or that month or whatever. Had to, find ways. I had just moved to the house I was in Kennedale, and this lovely woman, Donna Eastman, I just love her to death. She had invited me to Bunko, and then a month later, I've got cancer, and she made sure 3 meals a week made it to my home.
Wow.
For 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's dedication. Like, she organized it, and
yeah, I was going to say the 3 meals a week did not just come from her.
No,
she organized
it. She's like, we show up for each other. This is what we do in our neighborhood.
Well, our friend Jean Humphreys is doing the same thing, where it's at, a couple of meals a week, and there is a website called Lots of Helping Hands, and so through that, she has invited people to join our support team. And you have a choice of either supplying a meal or driving to the next infusion, which is in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And so people have been signing up for either one of them. It's like it's a Monday night, and there's Sherry delivering a pan of enchiladas, mild enchiladas.
I'd send him back for spicy, but okay.
I put the spice on, and she is still trying to keep it pretty mild. So you have a choice of either signing up for the meal or to drive to UT Southwestern. And
you want to hear the best thing that ever happened to me?
Tell me about the best thing that ever happened to you.
The best thing somebody did for me. Somebody called me. I was having a really bad day, and I was to the point of tears. And she's like, I'll be right there. And she brings soup and crackers. And she's like, what can I do for you? I said, I need you to vacuum my bed. Dogs.
Okay.
I always have at least 3, sometimes 4. I couldn't clean my bedspread. I couldn't run a vacuum. You can't do those things,
right.
And so she came over and vacuumed my bed. And then she and another friend cleaned my house the next week. Greatest gift. Terry Clark, if you're out there, you're an amazing woman. I love you to death.
Shout out to Terry.
Shout out to Terry.
Talk about nutrition and how important that is during the cancer process.
Well, there's different parts of the cancer process. So when you're going through chemo, what they'll tell you is eat what you can keep down.
Anything. Just
whatever it is.
As long as you can keep it down. And yet
there are some limits. Like if you're going through chemo, you don't want salad or because you're doing chemo, at least I did it every other week. One of those weeks you don't want foods that could be easily contaminated because your immune system takes a huge dive.
Dairy and eggs and things like that?
I never will give up cheese.
Oh, okay.
Like never. If I have to give up cheese, I may as well die.
Okay.
I am not going to give up the fromage.
Yeah.
Some people would argue that, eliminating some of those things can be helpful because they're inflammatory. You have to know your body. I'm a cheese girl.
There you go.
But I don't eat fried food.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, if you can do organic, people will argue that there's pros and cons. It is expensive. If you go to the Cancer Society, they have kind of a clean 15 and a dirty dozen. And so you can look at those foods that it's basically the fruits and vegetables that don't have a thick skin and that are predominantly water.
Huh.
And so if you've got celery, that's going to have a higher content of pesticides traditionally versus organic. Strawberries are another big one. And so you can look up the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen and kind of see nutrition-wise how that goes. But during chemo, you just want to find food you can keep down. And you just don't want it so fresh that it could be easily contaminated. So somebody who's preparing your salad, it's got to be washed properly, those kinds of things.
Okay. Talk about the support group, Hands of Hope.
Hands of Hope.
Hands of Hope that takes place at First Methodist Mansfield Church.
Amazing group of ladies. I got diagnosed in December. And if you're going through cancer treatment, talk to your ombudsman or your cancer navigator. They will have a list through the American Cancer Society of all the support groups in the area. They were the closest, happens to be at my church. So I went and I was trying to decide, do I have a single or a double mastectomy? And of course, nobody there was going to give me the answer, but they had all had different types of cancer. I happen to be triple negative, which is different than estrogen positive or progesterone positive or HER2 positive. It's going to be a combination of those with very few exceptions.
And so back about 15 minutes ago, when you said there are different types of breast cancer, those are the 4 different types?
There's actually inflammatory breast cancer, which is a different kind of category.
Okay.
Much more challenging, I think, in some ways to treat.
Okay.
And so, if you're a woman of a certain age and you're taking hormones, you might have had a cancer for 10 years, but now that you're feeding it estrogen, now you have a big cancer. And so that would be kind of more common. I had cancer at 42, and that's youth is not on your side with cancer diagnosis. And
is it something then you live with? You've gone through the double mastectomy, you've gone through chemo, you've gone through radiation.
I'm cancer free, but
forever?
Right now I have the same risk as anybody else.
You're back to 1 of 8.
I'm back to 1 of 8.
Okay.
For 10 years I was not, because I had a very aggressive form of cancer, and the survival rate is I'm an outlier, and I like that. Yeah, I'm alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can tell you that for many years I'd be sitting at, I don't know, a special occasion at Bass Hall or some other crowd of people and going, wow, how many people in here have breast cancer? Like I would scan and count. I'm like, I'm not alone. I had to know I wasn't alone. And so you do interesting things kind of in your own mind to just realize it's not just you. We are not designed to go through this world alone.
No. And we're pack animals.
We are pack animals. We just have a prefrontal cortex. And we're the only pack animal that will follow an unstable pack leader.
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. Dogs will not, but people will. Yes.
How many people show up at First Methodist Mansfield on the second Monday at 7 p.m. And what do y'all talk about?
Oh my goodness. We talk about everything. Most of us have been there a long time together. I went, and I can't say that I make it every month, but there's anywhere from, we could have a group as small as 6. We usually have 12, maybe 18, just kind of depends on the night. In the month of October, we usually bring some props and take pictures and celebrate our canniversary. So this year, this is my 14th year. I have a friend there who is a month ahead of me, and so we always take our picture together. But we'll hold up our little sign, and it's just a way to kind of mark we're still here. And sometimes we're talking about legislation with cancer research and medications, or we'll have a guest speaker. We've had physicians and surgeons and all different kind of folks come talk. Sometimes we're just complaining about what it's like to be a woman in America, or having fun. What are we doing for the holidays? Our Christmas party, we have kind of a potluck, and we just enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
When you get that diagnosis, you join the best, worst sisterhood in the world, and you are together forever, always a part of us. Nobody ever wanted to be there, but now we're friends. And now that we're friends, we wouldn't trade at all, but we aren't people you would necessarily put together.
But I would assume it's not just 100% cancer talk. It's something where you all share a common bond, but friends getting together don't talk about the same thing every time they get together.
We're catching up with kids and grandkids and dogs and gardening and recipes and just the ongoing struggle, what it's like the first year, the second year, the third year. Man, the first 6 months after you're cancer-free, every headache is a brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And then it's less, and then it's less, and then it's less. And so sometimes we're talking treatment and changes, and other times who got a new car and, just whatever. Where are you going on vacation? We're a part of each other's lives. Our stories have woven together.
Is it time to celebrate when you finished your last treatment, your last radiation? Is there?
I'm kind of a party girl, so
once you reach the end of the tunnel, where they say the light at the end of the tunnel is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Finally, you've reached the end of the tunnel. Is it time to celebrate?
I take any opportunity to celebrate I can, because once you have danced with death, you realize how fragile life is. Yeah. And you learn to appreciate the holidays that you celebrate, the friends that you celebrate, the birthdays that you celebrate. When you have an opportunity to celebrate, you go do it. And I celebrated before that's interesting. So my little sister got married, and I had postponed my surgery about 4 weeks. So from diagnosis to surgery, we'll call it 5 weeks. Maybe it was 6. But I went to her wedding, and nobody ate the whole cake. There was like one that wasn't used at all. And I'm like, I got a plan for that. And I used it for my goodbye party. I threw a goodbye party for my girls. Okay. I called them Poncho and Lefty. They were outlaws, so they had to go. Yeah. And then I renamed them when I got them, Abraham and Sarah, because those Old Testament people were really, really a mess. However, they did hard things, and they did it well, and they made a difference. So I had a going away party for the girls. For the girls. The twins. Well, they didn't look alike so much, and one of them had a giant tumor. Oh. However, humor. I think humor is what gets you through, if you can find your humor. That goes back to mental health. It does. And the difference of being pissed off 24/7 versus having an attitude, a good attitude, a positive attitude. Well, it can't always be positive, but it can be resilient. Yeah. And your humor, if you're not already a pretty twisted person, it can get more twisted, but you got to have it. I remember sitting in my plastic surgeon's office, and the woman behind the desk had been with him for 27 years. Who stays with an employer 27 years? She was great. Ginger was the best. And she was telling me the story of having to call everybody to kind of track implants. That's just something you have to do. You can't get rid of medical records if there's still devices out there. And she said she's calling folks from the 1980s. And I went, they have the same phone number? It was astonishing to me. But she remembers many of the women, and I know she told me the story because of where I was at in my treatment at that point. But she said, I just talked to a woman who was stage 4. We didn't have chemo back then. We didn't have all of the treatments we have today, which was not just a little over 20 years later. And she said, she answered, she's doing great. And she said, looking at her chart, she shouldn't have made it. But her attitude was everything. And it was really good. And she said she watches humor and people who can just be in the journey. And she said, those folks make it. And so I think I took that to heart. We mentioned earlier that breast cancer is not a death warrant. It is not. Are there any other misconceptions? What are some of the popular misconceptions that women have toward breast cancer? Gosh, there's so many things. One, they do feel like it's the end. Yeah. But you've got to find the silver lining in it, and figure out, just how much are you going to fight here? What are you up for? I've got a friend that was diagnosed a couple of years after me. She is stage 4. She's got multiple malignancies. She's been through clinical trial after clinical trial after clinical trial. She's still here. For her, it's very much a chronic health condition. Sitting in the chemo room, A, you meet some of the most amazing people, but B, you're sitting with people and you're like, okay, we're just getting these IVs and then we're okay. And we all look a little funny and we all manage our hair loss differently. I met an amazing woman, Tommy there, still a friend of mine, and she was interested in the turban I had on my head. So we did turban tying lessons. She could never pick it up. She just stuck with a hat, which was great for her. Like, she's a hat girl. But you meet friends. My friend Tommy, she came in with a posse of girls every time. They had balloons, they had cake. There was a little Italian restaurant down the street, and on Chemo Wednesdays, I had a certain dish that I like to have, and I would have my Italian food with whoever was bringing me on my team that week. I tried to include people. I think it's hard on family because what you don't intimately know, you will make up.
Yeah.
But what you're living, it's like, I knew I was going to live. I had a very aggressive form of cancer, but I knew I was going to live. This was not going to kill me.
Back to a positive attitude.
Well, I think you have to find the hope.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's realistic and sometimes it's not. But in really dark times, I had people show up. I don't know how they showed up, but they did. And they showed up in really interesting ways. And
well, that's what we're finding is that the Mansfield community, at least those around both my wife and me, are showing up. And it's
that's the miracle.
It's like, I haven't talked to you in 10 years and now you're delivering a meal. This is awesome.
That's God. That is God showing up in your life.
Yeah.
That is Christ knocking on your door.
If someone out there listening wanted to join your group on every second Monday at 7 p.m. at First,
show up and join us.
You just show up.
Yeah.
And it's in the big church there, or
it's in the chapel building.
In the chapel building.
I'd like to tell you what room number it is.
That's okay. It's in one of
follow the loud ladies. We can be really loud. The rest of them are men's groups. I don't know what they're doing, but it's very clear they're not us.
But the breast cancer group are all women.
Yes, we haven't had a male, though. I have had a couple of people in my life that were men that had breast cancer.
Yeah,
more rare, but it absolutely happens.
But for the most part, all ladies. Having a great time.
We are always having a great time. We may be complaining, we may be singing, we may be doing photos, we may be swapping, we may be scrapbooking. We had somebody come in and say, "Let's make cards tonight." Boom, we'd had a little art project. Some are structured, some are not. We're just catching up, But being able to see somebody coming in that was where I was 14 years ago helps me see how far I've come. And I always want to pay back what those ladies did for me because they gave me my life. They let me know that I could get through this. I had people all along the way that taught me how to have cancer. Mm-hmm. And today I have a much better appreciation for life, for people, for community, for how we can show up for each other. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty amazing.
Someone once said it takes a village.
My dogs were the only way I slept. I did not sleep at night. All the drugs that they pump through you to keep you from getting sick make you not sleep and make you a little crazy. But when my dogs got in bed with me in the morning and eventually all night, I slept like a baby when I had my pack with me.
Sure. In the couple of minutes that we have left, is there anything that you want to add that we haven't covered?
If you are ever in the position to get the diagnosis, know that it is not a death sentence, that in many ways it is a life sentence. It is a wake-up call. It is a transforming moment in your life that you will absolutely walk through and you'll be okay. You will have to trust other humans and you will have to connect, but you can do it. And there are people out there you just have to ask. Not everybody's going to want to do that journey. I had one friend say, "I can't do this for you, but I'm going to go to my church and light a candle for you, but you'll not hear from me." Mm-hmm. Great. I love that she self-selected out. Other folks, and it's an election year. God help us all. It's not the Republican or the Democrat that's going to hold your hair back if you're ever puking in a toilet. It's your neighbor. And it really doesn't matter who they vote for and how they think. We are all on this very human journey alone or alone together. And we have to embrace that community. And it's not the political team we're on. It's how we're going to show up for each other.
Amen.
Amen.
Hands of Hope is the name of the organization. It meets at First Methodist Mansfield Church. It's the big church right across the street from Walmart, the big super Walmart, the one that has the drones. Yeah,
and the Chick-fil-A.
And the Chick-fil-A. First Methodist Mansfield Church. It meets every second Monday, 7 p.m. Just show up and look for the loud women.
Yes.
You can't miss them.
Yes. Or go to the American Cancer Society or your Cancer Navigator. They'll have a list of all the groups in the area. There'll be a contact person there. We'd love to say hello.
Susan Reed, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being on About Mansfield.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we will talk in studio with yet another fine Mansfield resident. You'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. In the meantime, this is the place where you'll hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, love, or, support this podcast if you haven't already, so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Enter your email address right there on the homepage. We will never, ever, 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 ever send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature, Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know, Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update, Angela Hornburg. Cultural Arts Calendar, Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week, Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
And a happy one-year anniversary to Andrew Miner. Thank you for being a part of the show. This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. We thank y'all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.